I look around this room, and this room is success. It's about success. I mean, I'm excited about being here. You know, I wasn't here when the program started. This is only my third year as president of Harcum, and I came from another college up in Connecticut. So this is kind of new territory to me. So really, most of you have been at it and been here longer than I have, but it's really exciting to me. You know, when I first arrived and I heard about the program that we were doing in conjunction with ILEAD, there were some issues at the time. And there were some questions about, were we going to be able to make it? Just like when you started your journey, there were some questions about, are you going to be able to make it? And that was the question. But in my looking at what we had here and what we had started, boy, this is really a good thing. You know, we've got some administrative issues, but there's no issues in what we're doing. This is really a great program. It's something that's very important to people to get that opportunity. You know, I don't really say that, you know, I've been to the hard journey that a lot of you have been through, but I started kind of at the bottom in a lot of ways. Nobody in my family had ever been to college. My parents were factory workers, so I kind of had to start from scratch, and I didn't have a whole lot of advice around me, so I kind of had to feel my way a little bit too. And I've been very fortunate along the way. But I know the journey is hard, and it's harder for a lot of you because I started right out of high school. A lot of you had to come back and do it. You know, you have a lot of things to carry along the way while you're doing it, and that's a lot harder. But the good part about it is, when you're just going from high school onto the other, you don't always appreciate what it's about. Because somebody just told you, well, this is the next thing to do. So you're just sitting there doing it. But when you have to go back and do it, you've got the life experience, you see the value, and you see the relationships. And it means a lot more too. I really think there's a lot of truth in it. And then you see people like Devin do what they've done, and to be successful like that, and be able to talk about that, inspires other people to go on. And I think that's also a very important piece. So, you know, from my perspective, what we're doing here is really just fantastic. You know, David talked, and of course he had the bigger picture, if you will. And there was a lot to what he had to say. I hope you all heard what he was going to say. And I'm going to give him a bad time right now too, because coming through the door he said, you know, we can't talk very long. This is short speech. I think he just wanted more time for himself. What it really was. But it sounded good when he's telling it. You know, I think the other thing to say is, you know, as we go, we're expanding these programs. You know, we started out with relatively small numbers. You know, we're talking over 250 people that are engaged right now that have that opportunity. That's a lot of people. It's getting bigger and bigger. And I brag about these programs. You know, when I'm talking to trustees, and I'm talking to corporations that give us a chance, you know, we always need support because Harcum's a small college. You know, it's had its trials as well along the way. So it's a small college, and we know we need help. We know we need other people's resources. So when we're out there looking, we talk about programs like this. Here is something that really means something, that really makes a difference in someone's life. And I think that's the big key on the programs that we're doing right here. You're learning skills. You've got something that's really going to mean something in your life. How many have already graduated? You already got your degree, right? Nobody can ever take that away from you. You know, some things you can lose along the way, but a degree and education can never be taken away from you. Knowledge can't be taken away from you. So that's the greatest thing. David talked about the gift, and it really is. Because no one can take that away from you. And it's additive. You know, you can keep getting one more thing, one more. You know, I learn every day. I'm always learning. I don't ever feel that I have the corner on knowledge. There are always things to learn. I think that's important. I think the other part that's important, and I talk about this a lot too, is just the general idea of being together and learning about what different people do. And I try to emphasize this on our campus as well, is looking at different cultural aspects. And I think that's very important. Whenever we get a chance, I always talk about that part, because I'm a big believer. A few years ago, I heard a gentleman talk about what he called toward a hate-free millennium. David talked about, well, we're already 10 years into the millennium. Well, 10 years ago, I was listening to this guy talk about that. He was talking about James Byrd Jr., dragged behind a truck in Texas and killed. And some other things like that, that went on. It had to do with hatred. So I always, when I get a chance to talk to anybody, I always talk, part of our mission is to end hatred, totally get rid of it. It's possible in our lifetime. We have to do it person by person, bit by bit. And that's part of what we try to do at the main campus, to talk to people a lot about. And I think you could all be part of that story as well. It's an important story. It's important that we do that. I think with that, I probably already talked too much. Dave's got a big hook over there. He's starting to come with me. But I want to congratulate you on being part of this. I want to congratulate the foundation for having the foresight to get involved in this. And 5 years. It's a lot longer than I've been around, as I said before. I think that's great. And I think just being here with you tonight is wonderful for me. I feel good about it. So I want you all to have happy holidays. And again, thank you for listening to me for a little while. And thank you for being part of Hartford College. Thank you.